This is the same lie that Rudy's going to be telling. He's on Welcome to America First with Sebastian Gorka.
We're going to take airplanes when we're supposed to for business or pleasure. We're going to go to public events, and we're going to do the things that we normally would do. The best way...
By the way, I don't know what's happening over on this side. The Ernie and Osama bin Laden statues and Star Wars with BB-8 and stuff, and then this resist this bumper sticker and an American flag hung down there. This is Sebastian Gorka's set. I don't know what. And then they put video in. You can't have a side window?
To get your children to stop being afraid is to stop being afraid yourself.
Stop being afraid.
Yourself.
Exactly the message America needed to hear after the worst terrorist attack.
Why are we seeing a reflection of whoever your assistant is in the glass over here at the studio, wherever we are, in some random studio?
In modern history, from the man we now call America's mayor, the
we once called America's mayor.
107th mayor of New York City, a man I'm honored to call a friend, a great patriot, and he is with us now, opening America First. Mayor Rudy Giuliani, welcome back to America First.
Always an honor to be with you, Sebastian.
So what's on his shelf? Doctor Who, Daleks, Star Wars. Then the second one, he's got Osama bin Laden figurines. Ed 209. Is that flowers? I don't know what the hell that is. And then the Xenomorph. Then Ernie, and then a flag, and then I can't tell if if Bert is like laying over there, but there's some sort of crown back there. Relief Factor, which is something he's selling, I think, for flexibility. It's one of their sponsors. And then Marines and, the thin blue line flag, in case a cop comes in and he needs something to, choke him with. He can just peel that off and wad it up and stuff it in the guy's throat.
So kind of you. Let's get straight to the heart of the matter. I've heard you speak about what occurred to you last week. Tell our millions of listeners and viewers.
Well, I don't want to shit on them too much. Hundreds of thousands, maybe tens of thousands, dozens of listeners.
What happened when federal agents came to your premises, and what were they looking for?
Well, I mean, it's hard to even describe. There are so many violations of the law involved.
No, there aren't. They put a grand jury together. They got a warrant. That it was signed off by a judge. They came there and claimed your electronic devices. Those electronic devices are not given straight over to a prosecutor. They're given to a committee that looks at stuff and goes, yes, this qualifies as attorney-client privilege. This doesn't, and they bifurcate it out. They're sworn to secrecy. They take an oath to defend the Constitution against unreasonable searches and seizures. And so they don't talk about whatever they found, even if it's gross and disgusting. If it falls under attorney-client privilege, they're gonna say this should be ruled out. And if the prosecution says they would like, they have a reason to believe that his actions working for Donald Trump were not as an attorney, and therefore they want to present a case equally, they get a hearing on that, and then they have to go back, and the judge can look with the group about that, and then the judge can make a ruling.
Involved in this.
Which is like a lot of law happening.
Knocked on my door at 6 a.m. in the morning. I should say.
Okay, they knocked on your door. Okay.
Pounded on my door.
Oh, they pounded. You should say they pounded, even though they knocked. Okay.
They had a search warrant, and when I looked at it, it
was illegal.
Pounded me because it said that I failed to file on one occasion where I allegedly represented a Ukrainian official. Well, I've never represented a Ukrainian official before.
Well, that's your allegation. They obviously believe you have. That's your position. Their position is you have. They found information on your iCloud, apparently, or on some sort of wiretap that they got on you, that they also got through a warrant, that led them to getting a warrant in front of a grand jury from the information they found from that led them to your door that day. So, do you think any defendant goes, you know what, they showed up, it's a fair cop.
For the United States government ever, and I've never acted as a FARA agent.
Before the United States government ever. That's an interesting wiggle. Did you guys notice that? He's mentioned that a couple of times.
Well, I've never represented a Ukrainian official before the United States government, ever.
I've never represented a Ukrainian official before the United States government, ever. This guy, I mean, he's a lawyer. That's some pretty fine hair splitting right there. Right? Why would you go, I've never represented, I've never lobbied on behalf or worked as an agent for a foreign, why that in particular?
And I've never acted as a FARA agent before.
Never acted as a FARA agent? What does that mean? Well, you obviously didn't fill out your documents, so yeah, maybe not.
In fact, I have contracts that specifically make clear that I will not. So
doesn't mean you didn't. Your contracts have basically got a lot of CYA in it.
That was a shocker. It was equal.
Oh, wow. Today is Michael Palin's birthday. One of the purest, funniest human beings ever to have lived. Michael Palin is a lovely human being, and I'm proud to have bought him onion rings once.
A shocker, because we have offered on 4 occasions to come in and show them that, and they, see no evil, hear no evil, speak no evil.
They just said, no, that's not how it works.
Have their eyes closed to it. Instead, they wanted to execute a useless warrant.
Why was it useless? Apparently they got some shit.
Because I wasn't going to destroy any of this. I've had it.
Yeah, so we should just take every defendant's, after a grand jury and all this stuff. I mean, why are we getting warrants for anybody for anything ever? Aren't all warrants a violation of everyone's rights then by this standard?
A year and a half. They've leaked the investigation often enough that I know what it's about.
So there is a concern that friendly members of the FBI and the DOJ under Donald Trump were telling you what was going on. And so it was reasonable for them to think that at some point you might destroy things now that your buddy's out of power and you might actually have to face justice.
They've leaked it on 5 occasions. So if I was going to...
What 5? Where are those communications? That's interesting. Show those, Rudy. You have more evidence of communications that you're alleging right now than you have shown stuff from Hunter Biden's laptop.
Going to destroy this stuff, I would have destroyed it a long time ago. They came in, they took 8 or 9 pieces of electronics, 2 of which do not belong to me. And I told them that, but they took them anyway. And then there were 3 hard drives.
This is, again, the story of bullshit. Who did the other 2 belong to? And by the way, is this how you talk about those aren't my phones. Those are Lev and Igor's phones. They bought them for me, but I never paid them back. I don't know who those phones are. Dude, they came in, they busted down my door. They found like 6 bags of weed. I was like, those aren't mine. And they didn't even believe me.
And I said, these are Hunter Biden's. And they fall within the warrant, electronic.
No, they don't.
It's in my house. They said, no, we don't want that. We don't want that. I said, well, you're kind of taking my word. These are Hunter Biden. I mean, they could be Donald Trump's. Or...
No, they're not taking your word. That's why they didn't take them. They didn't have a right to storage devices. They were there to get communications devices. Your smart TV qualifies as an electronic device. They didn't fucking take it, did they?
Vladimir Putin's, but apparently I'm trustworthy enough so that the FBI believed me that they were Hunter Biden's and didn't want the problem. So ironically, they walked out of my house with...
So you still got them. So you still got 3 copies of child porn on your desk? What?
9 pieces of electronic equipment that all contain innocent information.
Oh, good. Well, then what are you worried about?
And they left the one incriminating document behind.
One incriminating document?
A hard drive.
Now, I read on the air yesterday on America First the DOJ regulations for serving warrants against sensitive individuals like attorneys who have lots of clients, priests who have the confidentiality of the confessional, or doctors who have to protect their relationship and their information with their patients. And it's
fake Brits.
It says there very clearly, because attorneys manage privileged information for hundreds of other people, that they must use the least intrusive method of obtaining that information or that.
Yeah, And the least obtrusive was knocking on your door at 6 o'clock. Hi, we have a search warrant. We need to take your electronic devices. We're not taking all the storage devices because there's a wider range that you might have, like, you know, we're not taking your file cabinets, for example, because it might violate attorney-client privilege. But whatever you're communicating on, obviously, because the actual charge against you is related to communications, both received and sent for the benefit of foreign nationals, we need your communication devices. How fucking dumb.
Evidence, and they should contact the attorney first. Were you...
They did, yes. He had several opportunities. But they're not going to tell you, by the way, we need all your electronic devices, bring them in a bag. What?
Contacted by the FBI to hand over your electronics, Mayor Giuliani?
100% not.
100% not. There's a soundbite. Hold on.
Use the least intrusive method of obtaining that information or that evidence, and they should contact the attorney first. Were you contacted by the FBI to hand over your electronics, Mayor Giuliani?
100% not. In fact, it's much worse than that, Sebastian. Unbeknownst to me, and we found this out 2 days later, a year and a half ago, more than that actually, they issued a secret covert warrant.
You mean while Donald Trump was listen to me, Donald Trump was president and Bill Barr was running the DOJ for him?
To go take my entire iCloud. And they took all the contents for 18 months out of it. And
well, no, they didn't. It wasn't a warrant going forward. So clearly it was a couple of, you know, however long you've had it, one would think.
I mean, it can't be any clearer. The commencement date for that subpoena is the day I began representing Donald J. Trump.
Oh, really? So you found out, somebody told you that they got somebody in the DOJ under Bill Barr told Rudy Giuliani, bro, they just got a subpoena for your iCloud. You need to go to Trump right now and ask him to give you $1, put you on retainer as his official attorney so that you can keep all this hidden under national security and as attorney-client privilege today. I mean, is there any...
As the president's attorney, because it also says in the regulation...
No, he started being the attorney. So maybe they'll just want everything leading up to that day. Tell you what, bruh. You can have everything after that point covered under attorney-client privilege with the president. And then all your communications before that day are fair game. Cool.
The serving attorney...
It isn't, though, because of, obviously, reasons that I have heretofore stated. That all of that is bullshit, because he said this after that. So on my birthday, 2019. There you go.
Attorney General or Deputy Attorney General must approve of warrants against attorneys. So you're saying here on radio that Attorney General Barr or his deputy used his authorities to download your iCloud information?
Yes.
At the time I was representing the President of the United States, and at the most active time that I was doing it, May of 2018 to November of 2019. That included the Russian collusion investigation, the obstruction of justice investigation.
And the time you went on the news and said you weren't actually working as an attorney, you were defending a friend, and that you went there on the behalf of everybody you talked to as far as officials, you were acting on behalf of the State Department. Fuck off with this idiocy.
And the Ukrainian investigation.
I'm sorry, the what? The what? The who? What investigation, Rudy Giuliani? I'm just going to keep hammering this.
That was the specific period, and the thing that makes it clear
What's
that
this
they were
resist
after
sign?
Trump information is
the resist sign is about the resistance. You know, resist this. You know, it's just it's one of Gorka's bumper stickers. It's just
worry about any information of mine before that. So they weren't interested in any other clients.
No, it wasn't clients. It was your security business and who you're interacting with and your energy deals and your finances with those people, which would be, again, the motive for what would later be the criminal aspect of the means and opportunity.
Weren't even particularly interested in me.
Apparently they were, because they got a warrant for your iCloud.
One is the day that I represented. I mean, they could have at least been a little bit more
subtle, right?
A little more unclear in their objective. But they are after. I mean, I don't think any court that's fair won't see that what they were after. They basically wanted an advantage the prosecutor doesn't get. They wanted to know our theory.
Yeah.
Remember, they were.
Know your theory? You wouldn't shut up. Who doesn't know your theory? What are you talking about? What do you think the legal theory that they were basing his... He did nothing wrong. That was it. That was the whole thing. He didn't do anything wrong. That was the entirety of his argument. He didn't even serve in the impeachment. He was useless.
They were investigating... The Southern District was investigating him for those ridiculous Michael Cohen charges, for which they...
Oh, ridiculous? What was ridiculous? Michael Cohen went to jail.
Announced about 5 times they were going to indict him, in which they filed indictments in which they called him, person number 1 and number 2 to make it look like he committed a crime, and then they never filed a single darn charge.
So,
yeah, because of Bill Barr and Rod Rosenstein running interference. Once they were out of office, nobody was running interference anymore.
Investigating. So the prosecutor investigating him wanted to know what his lawyers were thinking.
No. This had nothing to do with wanting to... Everybody knew what Trump's lawyers were thinking. It was the same shit all the time.
We are talking to America's mayor. Follow him right now,
Formerly.
Rudy Giuliani on Twitter, host of the Common Sense podcast.
Yeah, former mayor, current podcaster, niche podcast. Former mayor, current niche podcaster, and former attorney to a microblogger, Rudy Giuliani.
GiulianiCS.com. Mayor Giuliani, let me ask a very tactical question. My sources tell me the FBI agents who also raided our friend Victoria Tansing's home, Joe DeGeno's home, were very polite.
They were very polite. Okay.
Yeah, and their offices were very polite and even apologetic. How were the agents that came to your premises?
100%. I thought they were fine gentlemen. They were dressed, unlike what they did to Roger Stone and to Manafort and the others. They didn't come in dressed up as, military troopers.
Oh, that's weird. So now that Biden is president, when the FBI shows up at your door, they're wearing suits and they look normal again. But under Donald Trump, they were showing up at Roger Stone's and Manafort's place in tactical gear. Curious. Why would that be?
They came in detective suits, the usual FBI attire.
Detective suits. My detective suit is at the cleaners, I think. Yes, it was sitting here just a moment ago.
They were exceedingly courteous.
You said this asshole. No. We don't want that stuff. Yeah, it sounds courteous to me. And they bashed on his door, and they were smashed.
They went about their job. They searched everything.
Yeah, it's their job.
But they didn't, rip the apartment apart as they often do.
Really? How often? You mean when you send them?
Look, I've been part of that.
Right.
On the other side, they did take everything out, and it was a bit of a burden. And now I'm operating without my iPad, without my iPhone, which is hard because I do work for a living.
Right.
No, he doesn't. Go get another one, millionaire. Nothing's stopping you. Is it? So I have an iPad, and while I was here, it bricked. I don't know what happened to it. It just stopped. It just stopped working. It just black screen, dead. It was plugged in. It was fully charged. It just boom. And I've plugged it in. I've done the hard reboot. I know all the volume up, volume down, hold the power for 30 seconds to make it come back. Nothing. And I'm going to have, when I get back to Vegas, I'm going to have to get it repaired or, take it to the Genius Bar, see if they can, hook it up to one of their machines and wake it up or get it replaced. Rudy's a millionaire. Go get another phone, stupid. You know that, those phones weren't mine. Oh, nice. A Nerd Halen shirt. Sweet, Jill. Yeah. those two other phones, those were his burners. Go get another burner, stupid.
And this is a big, big, big intrusion. And I really intend, once we get this settled, to see if I can't sue them for
what?
Blatant.
For what? Following the law? Getting a warrant? Please do. Please, Rudy Giuliani, sue the fucking FBI for doing their job. You and Dinesh D'Souza. How about that? Just do a class action lawsuit shitting on the Federal Bureau of Investigation while they're trying to stop serial killers and child pornographers and drug runners and working with U.S. Marshals and DEA people to stop people from selling junk guns and straw guns and like 3D printed 60 round capacity magazines and shit like that. While they're busy doing that, why don't you sue them for following the law and being sent there to do their goddamn job?
Violating my constitutional rights.
Your constitutional rights were not violated. It was not an unreasonable search and seizure. If it is, you have the right to a redress of grievances. You will get that opportunity. You have a lawyer. They went through the process. It was not unreasonable, or they wouldn't have gotten the warrant in the first place.
And I think the president should consider it. I mean, he does have an
Why? Biden doesn't have any problems with this. Why would he consider it?
attorney-client. I mean, there's a kind of fiction among left-wing ideologues and
I feel seen.
zealots that
Oh, well, definitely me. Now he's talking about me.
Trump has no constitutional rights.
No. Which I mean, I'm sure there are left-wing zealots who think, I mean, there's people who believe that the Constitution doesn't exist. There's right-wing sovereign citizen crowds that don't think anybody has any. They have God-given rights and that's it. And no one can take them away unless they specifically, I don't know, fire upon them like Waco. I don't know what.
I mean, if this were done to anybody else, these people would be fired by now.
No, they wouldn't. This happens all the time with mob lawyers.
Rudy, let me just, for those who don't really appreciate what happened last week, we're talking to not only the former mayor of New York,
who's now a current niche podcaster,
revitalized New York, cleaned it up, took down 5 of the mafia families as
and so the Russians and the Chinese could move in.
U.S. Attorney for the Southern District of New York, formerly United States. He was previously the Associate Attorney General.
Oh, you mean like a swamp creature, a lifelong government official? Why don't they get a real job?
General for the United States. After 9/11, honorary knighthood from Queen Elizabeth, nominated and received the title Time Magazine's Person of the Year. Mayor Giuliani.
Yes, people fall very far.
I mean,
this is just...
Yeah, Elvis was once fit. And oh so sexy.
We have a minute left. As far as I'm concerned, this is a sign of desperation. Going up...
No, it's a sign that they have a case.
After you with a FARA warrant means they are desperate. Do you concur?
No. Going after you for the crime you have committed.
I do, and I'm so sad because I love that office. I dedicated my life to reforming it. I think I compiled a record in that office that I am extremely proud of.
You think you are?
I think it was one of the best ever done by a U.S. attorney. And I can't imagine how they would think I'd violate the law.
Well, I can. It's not hard for anybody.
Yeah.
Except if they are suffering from serious cases of Trump derangement syndrome.
Hey, asshat, you, by your own admission, are retaining evidence, only giving copies of evidence, whatever the fuck that means, to law enforcement, and are officially not parting with the original source while ruining criminal investigations.
And it is.
I mean, of course, being facetious, because everything he says about the Hunter Biden laptop is bullshit, but you get my point.
A typical Eastern University group of people who are very, very smart, but wow.
But wow. Okay, that's great. All right, that solves it. Thank you. Thanks, Can't Stop Lying. Yeah, I've got to get out of here. We're almost done. It's right. I've got like 30 seconds left. I can do that. Thank you for warning me. Bless your
I mean,
heart.
if I'm allowed to correct you, very, very educated, but not very smart. I know one thing for sure. I found it hard to keep up. I found it very hard to keep up with you when you were working for the president. You're a fighter. You never give up. If there's anything we can do to support you, I hope you set up a legal defense fund.
Yeah, please do that. Try to find some way to sucker people out of their money.
We're going to be there for you with our millions of listeners. He is America's mayor.
Was. He has fallen incredibly far.
Rudy Giuliani, you've got to follow him on Twitter. And
No, you don't.
also check out his podcast, rudygiulianics.com. Go.
And no, that's his website. Rudy Giuliani's Common Sense is the website. Dude, do your job. You supposedly know this asshole.
God bless you, sir. We know that you will beat them.
No, he won't. You have no knowledge along those lines at all. I mean, I appreciate the bloviating, but no.
Sebastian Gorka, this is America First.
No, it isn't. America First. Well, yeah. Why'd your parents hate the place so much they wouldn't let you be born here? Hmm?